In today's video, I'm going to talk about why Terence Crawford is the best fighter in the world after his dominant, one-sided performance against Errol Spence Jr. So, it's pretty obvious to me that Terence Crawford is the best fighter in the world. I know that we've been on this big Naoya Inoue kick, and Inoue is fantastic as a fighter, but Terence Crawford has been a world champion now for over a decade. He goes into a fight with someone that most people are looking at as his equal, as his peer. He holds 3 different world titles in the division. They're in an undisputed welterweight bout. And what happens? Well, we saw Manny Pacquiao versus Oscar De La Hoya, a fight that many people thought would be competitive, and in the end, it was a one-sided beating that led to a stoppage. There is a rematch clause for this fight, but I think anyone that saw this fight didn't really see adjustments Errol Spence can do. Errol started out very strong. It looked like he was going to be dominant. His jab was going. He was active. And then he walked into what Mike Tyson called from Jim Gray a boomerang jab, one that sat him down. And then it was a slow and gradual beatdown. The size of Spence, in many ways, worked against him because it looked like Terence Crawford had effective strength. He might not have technically been as big, but he was definitely as strong. We saw the finisher that is Terence Crawford tonight, and this is a historic performance because he also went against kind of a fighter who was a part of PBC, Premier Boxing Champions, very good boxing entity, but make no mistake, he alluded to it when he was with Top Rank. A lot of fighters under the PBC stable were not fighting Terence Crawford. He felt as though he was blackballed in the industry. He's held the WBO welterweight title since he beat Jeff Horn. I believe that was in 2018. It was at the advent or launch of ESPN Plus. So whenever that is, go back. That would be roughly 5 years. I'm not sure. I'm going right off the top of my head. I know I was there for it, and it was a good fight. Crawford has been so good. We have disrespected his achievements. We have underrated his achievements. We have said he has fought nobody because he's made them look like nobodies. He beats Victor Postol on pay-per-view and people underwrite it. He beats a guy like Diaz, Gamboa, all these fights, and people go, oh, his resume is nothing good. Now he goes in with Errol Spence Jr., someone that was well acclaimed, someone that's been headlining pay-per-views. And what happens again? He looked like a developmental opponent. There were moments where Crawford, in the first round, okay, he had to get adjusted, but he thoroughly dominated this and made this to a layman or a naive audience look like this was just a mismatch. He made a fight against a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter look as though this wasn't a competitive fight. Terence Crawford is in the same category as guys we talked about growing up. Sugar Ray Leonard, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, Manny Pacquiao. That's where Terence Crawford is. Terence Crawford is an ATG. Terence Crawford is an all-time great. And Terence Crawford currently is the best fighter in boxing. It's crazy to think that David Avanesian had more success than Errol Spence, although I think some of that was motivation. I think Terence Crawford had never been more motivated for a fight than this. I think another thing that we saw was Terence Crawford's more mature than Errol Spence. Terence Crawford took this fight very serious and showed respect to his opponent the whole time. Errol, at times he would disrespect Terence's resume. And I think that type of stuff caught up to him when the fight got hard because he had to fight back against some of the words that he said. Now there is a rematch clause for this fight. Who knows if it will happen? The word December was thrown around. We'll see if they do a December fight. Often promoters don't like throwing pay-per-views in December because that's around the holiday season. People are spending money not on pay-per-views in December. They typically like to spend money on their family. So we'll see if that happens. There more than likely will be a rematch, but this is feeling kind of like Devin Haney versus George Kambosos. First fight exciting. The second fight might be a formality. It might be a technicality. Terence Crawford's the best welterweight since Floyd Mayweather, and honestly, he might have beat Floyd Mayweather at that very end of his career. Terence Crawford's something special, and I think we need to appreciate it a little bit more with what he's doing. I know I underrated his achievements going into this fight, but I'll never do that again because this is a once-in-a-lifetime fighter.